The universe whispers before it shouts. And what does that mean to you as a spiritual person?
Well, I'm a big believer, as you know, in that the universe is constantly giving us signs. If we choose to gently open our awareness to these things, the universe is constantly giving us signs, signposts of the direction we need to be going in.
When I first got diagnosed, I thought that leukemia was for kids. I didn't realise that adults could get it. But this was something that just struck, and it was a surprise, to say the least. But mindset is not genetic. Mindset is a choice. You can choose to be positive, you can choose to be negative. I choose positivity every single day of my life. Ka-cha! G'day everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of the Still Not Dead podcast. It is entitled The Universe Whispers Before It Shouts.
Hey, coming into my world here.
So Natalie, last episode, episode 1 was the day it happened, the phone call with Dr. Greg, and we took the audience through a 3-day period when we were in Melbourne when we got the initial diagnosis. And if you haven't listened to or seen episode 1, I'd encourage you to go back to that. But this is episode 2, The Universe Whispers Before It Shouts. And what does that mean to you as a spiritual person?
Well, I'm a big believer, as you know, in that the universe is constantly giving us signs. Signs, synchronicities, lots of guidance and signals of when we're on the right path, when we're going off track, when we need to slow down, when we might need to speed up, when we need to let something go, change direction, so on and so on. And, sometimes the signs and signals are not pleasant, are they? It's like something not working out for you. But yeah, I believe that the universe, if we choose to gently open our awareness to these things, the universe is constantly giving us signs, signposts of the direction we need to be going in.
Totally. And I've had signs throughout my life in different challenging situations, which I'll share later on in this episode. But this particular episode is about, obviously where we're going. So I want to take you back. We want to take you back to May 2025, which is, by my calculations, that's about 8 months before the leukemia diagnosis. And how the universe, in hindsight's a wonderful thing, right? But in hindsight, Natalie and I laugh now because we can see clearly that the universe was telling us back then. They were presenting a message. And so I'm a sales coach, and so in May 2025 I conducted a live event here in Noosa with over 30 business owners, of which Natalie, you were part of. And then we decided to go to Brisbane for a well-earned break. Now, over that break, what happened during that break, Natalie?
I think we spent most of the weekend laying under a tree, which was kind of a sign in itself that, we were kind of exhausted and needed to rest. And this is when you actually said something really significant. It felt significant at the time, but now in hindsight, we can realize really how significant it was. And you'll remember what that was.
Yeah, I just said, because we were there in the park, and I said to Natalie, and as a bit of a precursor, I'm an Energizer bunny. Like, I have energy in abundance, and I'm gung-ho, chasing my passion, chasing my purpose, my mission. And I said to Natalie, I need to slow down. And that was the start of it. I felt that I needed to slow down. Every fibre of my being was telling me to slow down. Yeah,
it was. And what did we do?
Well,
what did we do instead of slowing down?
The interesting side story is that 3 months later, we'd actually sped up.
Significantly.
We decided that we had live events planned in Melbourne, Sydney, London and San Diego for for 2026. I'd added another event on in November 2025. You were preparing for London.
Yeah.
Your business was ramping up as well.
Yeah.
And so instead of listening to slow down, we'd actually sped up.
Yeah, we did. We did. And we're kind of questioning that now, actually, aren't we? Like, and we had valid reasons. You know, we all have reasons for that. We do both have a very strong sense of purpose and a big mission, and that kind of, that is a big driving force. So, you know, you're balancing, we're all human, aren't we? We're balancing this desire to take, you know, our passion out to the world, but with the biggest lesson really has been it can't be at detriment to us. And I think that's been a big key here. It's like, no, actually there's an internal energy that always has to be supported first. And I think I think a lot of people that are here with us doing this will be kind of similar to us, that you feel like you're here to help other people. And a big part of this for me has been, yes, but look after yourself first, and then you can actually help more people. So that's another gift that's come through.
It seemed natural at the time.
Yeah, it did. Yes.
So marker number 1, the universe told me, Marty, slow down. I sped up. Marker number 2. We're going to get into Natalie's world now, and Natalie, and this was in May. We had the Brisbane weekend, and then in October, Natalie, you had a dream. Now, before you tell us about the dream, I'd really like you to introduce us to the Jungian psychology, the dream, and the importance of dreams and the messages you take away.
Yes. Okay. It's a big subject, so I'll just kind of give you an overview, but I'm trained as a Jungian psychotherapist, and the work of Carl Jung is very much about the dream life. You know, we spend nearly half our life asleep, and we get messages from what Carl Jung talks about, messages from the unconscious parts of ourselves, so the parts of us that we've buried, that we've pushed down. And also dreams coming from, I guess, the universe in some ways, higher consciousness. And look, it's such a big subject. We have so many different types of dreams. Some dreams are simply just processing our day and putting things back into shape. And then we have signal dreams. We have some big dreams. And you know, sometimes when you wake up and you've had a dream or a nightmare, and it's like, oh, the energy is so real here. And it's like that for a reason. It is like a wake-up call. There's a beautiful quote that's like, an unexamined dream is like an unopened letter. I don't know who said it, but it's a beautiful quote that's always stayed with me. And it's like, there's a part of us always trying to give ourselves a message every night, and if we just open up to the possibility that there may be information for us in there, and you really start to work with your dreams, you start to get the gold from them. So I had this dream it was October, was it?
It was back in October.
Back in October. And it was one of the big dreams. I could feel it. It was like a signal type dream. And in the dream, Martin and I were away, and it felt like we were like in a hotel room is what it felt like. And we were looking, and we're up in a high rise, and we were looking out the window, and there were 2 big towers, a bit like the Twin Towers, 2 big towers. And I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. And then there was water beyond the towers. And as I was looking out, I could see this huge, big tidal wave coming. And it was moving really slowly. And it was to the point where I could see it coming. And I said to Martin in the dream, look at this coming. And I said to him, how are we going to survive this? The words were so strong in the dream. How are we going to survive this? And it wasn't about to crash. It was moving towards us, and it was all about to come over. And I woke up, and I told you this dream.
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
And I said to you, what is it? something really big is coming, and I don't know how we're going to survive it. And it rattled me. It rattled me because I knew it was real. And do you remember what you said?
Of course, the positive mindset guy said something to the effect was, well, next year, the year that we've planned with all these events is going to be absolutely amazing. We're going to serve more people than ever we thought. This is nothing but a good thing. So it's actually going to be an avalanche of people that we're helping to serve. It's going to be an avalanche of events that we're doing. This is the catalyst to everything that we've built up to this stage. That was my take on a tsunami. What was yours?
Yeah, and I was listening to that going, I hope that's true. I hope that's true. But in my soul, I was like, oh no, this has a different energy to it. How are we going to survive this? And I wouldn't mind jumping to what happened at the end. I know it's like out of order, but I just really to share the significance of how our dreams can work. The day that Martin was admitted to hospital, they took us up to the ward, and we were up on the 5th floor, which is the top floor of the hospital, and they took us up, and then he got his bed, and I was like, oh my gosh, this room feels like a hotel room, like it's a beautiful hospital. And I walked straight over to the window and looked out, and I was like, oh my gosh, we've got a water view here, this is amazing. And I said, it's just those two towers that are blocking the view. And as I was like, and I just felt it, I can feel it now, the view in my dream was the view from the hospital room. So I'd had that dream months beforehand of that view, and then I knew absolutely what the tidal wave was and why I was so worried about how were we going to survive this. So that was a signal dream.
That's incredible.
Now, if we had slowed down, would it have changed anything? At that point, I don't know. I don't know how that all works. But it was definitely, for me, a preparation of what was coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we'd had snippet number 1, slow down, snippet number 2, the tsunami dream. And then in November, I started noticing some differences in my health. Now, if you're listening, you probably, maybe you know me, maybe you don't, but I was an ex-athlete. I used to row for New Zealand at the Commonwealth Games and World Rowing Championships, so I like my fitness. And in 2025, I decided I would do 800 iFit workouts that year. And if you don't know what iFit is, have a look. It's an absolutely amazing thing. And then in November, I noticed that the workouts that I was doing were getting a lot harder. Workouts that I'd previously done, which were easy, my heart rate was increasing. I would be left sprawling on the floor afterward. Things were getting really, really tough. And so I started noticing that. I also started noticing getting some head spins when I got up or when I walked up the steps. And I noticed that I was getting short of breath. Chasing you up the stairs was a little bit harder than it used to be. She's pretty quick. And I also noticed that my muscles, particularly my thighs, they were just not recovering. They were constantly fatigued. And I remember saying to Natalie, I think there's an oxygen issue.
You did, yeah.
Not realizing how right I actually was. Fast forward over Christmas and Christmas Day, I like to...
Christmas Day was like, what? Something's wrong here. Something's wrong. You were like out for the count. You did. To be fair to him, though, he did cook the whole Christmas dinner, which was amazing. He's a wonderful cook. But then you went and laid on the sofa and fell asleep. And that is so not you. So not you. And that was a sign. That was, the universe giving a sign, your body giving a sign. That was definitely one.
So I knew something wasn't right. Yeah. I had gone for checkups on a regular basis every 12 months, but I thought, you know what, it's probably time I go for a checkup now, because I thought I was probably just deficient in vitamins, something like that. And that led me to going for a blood test in January, and that's where episode 1 takes over. So we certainly were noticing differences in my health. I was noticing, you were noticing, and so something was obviously wrong.
Something is wrong, but we make excuses as well, you know, and it's easy to. Martin had just run another event in November, and they're massive, you know, all day, 3-day events where he's on and giving, and so we go, well, you did just run this huge event, you know, and of course you're going to be a bit more tired, and so it is easy to make excuses for things as well, and try and justify, not excuses, but justify, of course we're working really hard, of course we're tired, and I think that for me has been another little golden nugget to take away from one of the gifts of what we're learning here is to always trust those things and not override so much and blame things for why you're feeling like that. If you're feeling like that, it's a sign from your body that something is wrong. So yeah, I think that's really important to acknowledge. Certainly something my intention is now much better than I've ever been before, is to go, okay, I'm going to check that out. I'm not just going to let that go.
And I think that's important for everybody,
Exactly.
particularly as you get more mature.
That's polite.
And as your maturity increases, those little things should certainly be checked out.
Yeah.
Natalie, neither you nor I are doctors. We're not part of the medical profession. But
Dr.
I've been,
Martin.
but I've been,
I don't know.
but I've been getting asked a lot about what is leukemia.
Yeah.
So from a layman's perspective, and I'm passing the baton to Natalie on this because Natalie is the detail person. So from your lay perspective, what is leukemia?
Yeah, and I do want to say very much from a lay perspective, because it is very technical and there's so much to it. So I don't want to, lead anyone up the garden path about what it actually is. What I will do is give you my understanding of it. I'm visual, so I had to kind of figure out ways to see how this all worked, and it's basically a cancer of the blood making factory. Okay, cancer of the blood, cancer of the bone marrow, and the factory that makes the blood. And I didn't know there was so much to it. We've learned so much about blood.
Boy,
and I've always been someone who's squeamish and can't look at blood and all of that. So I've had to, it's like, wow, here you go, blood. And it's, if you don't know much about blood, it's we have white blood cells, red blood cells, and then we have what are called platelets as well, and they're the parts that make up the factory. And Martin was right when he was saying oxygen wasn't getting to his legs and recovery, and that's what the red blood cells do. The red blood cells send oxygen around our bodies, and then the white blood cells are what fight the infections off. Okay, so that we can be near someone with a cold and the cold's coming at us and it can fight it off and we don't get it. And then the platelets, the other part of the blood making factory, are the parts that clot. So when we cut ourselves, it clots over. Okay, so we need all of these working for this healthy blood making factory to live. Okay, so there are lots of different forms of leukemia. I know most about Martin's form, obviously, which is called ALL. There is also an AML, but Martin's is acute lymphoblastic leukemia. And acute that stands for that it's acute, it's happening now, and it's moving rapidly. Okay, so that makes it very much not a slow moving cancer. It's happening. It's on the run. Lymphoblastic means, so what this means is that in this particular form of cancer, it's Martin's white blood cells, so the ones fighting infection. Okay, in what they're doing, and this is how I picture it. So I picture them as the men in there, the white blood cells that fight everything off, like fight off the infections. What's happening in Martin's blood system is that the white men that grow up to fight off are never reaching mature status. It's like all these little boys. it's immature. This is how I picture it. Immature white blood cells. So they grow up and they're called lymphoblasts, okay? And they're meant to keep growing to become lymphocytes, but they don't ever reach that. They don't ever reach maturity. And because there's they're not reaching maturity. They're multiplying faster and faster and faster. So in the end, what's happened, there's all of these lymphoblasts, these little white boys trying to fight, but they're not mature enough to fight. And what they're taking over the blood factory. Another way it's been described, it's like a garden, a beautiful garden, and these lymphoblasts are like the weeds that are like multiplying, and suffocating the garden. So the whole system kind of packs in. And this is what it is. This is the form of leukemia. So it's just therefore throws all of the blood making factory out of balance and takes. So that's my understanding.
You have been paying attention in class, my dear. Holy cow, that was a great.
I have to see it. Do you know what I mean? Because then it's like, okay, this is what you're trying to fight. We're trying to like kill off the lymphoblasts. Like get rid of them so that the garden can be pruned back and have the healthy plants, and then so that your the lymphoblasts can grow into proper white blood cells again to fight infection. Yeah,
that's my girl. Well done. And because when I first got diagnosed, I thought that leukemia was for kids. I didn't realise that adults could get it, and. Dr. Good News, who you'll meet on a future episode.
It's not his name.
that's not as good. That's not his name. He said to me that there's no known cause for late onset leukemia. He said, I've done nothing wrong. It's got nothing to do because I live clean. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I eat well. I'm a bit of a fitness freak. Cross those 4 hurdles, I thought I would be immune from most things. But this was something that just struck, and it was a surprise, to say the least.
Shock. Shock of all the people. Like, you know what I mean? It is interesting, isn't it? You have you would think you would have been doing something that would trigger it. Yeah. Now we're going to get more into treatments on another episode when we have Dr. Jason Conn is his real name. Our nickname for him is Dr. Good News. So we'll go into that in a future episode. But the one thing that I get asked a lot about, and I get a lot of messages about, Natalie, is, and we discussed it actually in Melbourne, if you recall, natural therapy versus where we're at now. Yes.
Because I know you're an advocate for natural therapy, and I would like to do natural therapy also.
Yeah.
What was our conversation about when we discussed this, and what are your views on it in regards to my specific diagnosis? Also, bearing in mind that Natalie has
it's a form of a brain tumor. It's called a parasagittal meningioma is the official name. I'm sounding like a doctor today, aren't I?
Yeah. And the fact that you're able to reduce its size when the doctors said you couldn't, you were able to do that naturally.
Yeah, I still have it, but it is smaller.
Yeah.
So, well, look, being obviously in the world I come from, I'm hugely into complementary therapies. I'm hugely into alternate medicine. However, I am equally an advocate for the medical world, and I honestly believe that you wouldn't be here without it. And it did not even enter, I think, either of our minds to go there to start with. And it was interesting because we did have a lot of our own communities reach out to us with, so many different, have you tried this? Have you tried that? This, da, da, da. And it's like, no, we are straight in there on chemo. Like, no, like this is, and you have something called acute lymphoblastic leukemia. It was moving at the rate of knots. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I don't think there was any green juice or, any herb you could have taken that was going to stop that. And I honestly, and it's not putting down anyone that goes down that road. It's not where I'm coming from. I think this is where you have to trust yourself. I believe that we can use the alternative and the complementary for the healing. Like, we'll definitely bring all of that in for sure. And we have been doing, but to a point, because we don't want to actually interfere too much with the Western, the medical stuff that's going on at the moment. But it has been really interesting, There's almost a judgment, isn't there, from some people, and this is why I don't want to do judgment the other way either. I do think it's a personal choice, but definitely from my personal perspective, I think that we are blessed to have what we have with Western medicine. Like you wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
I know you wouldn't
And
be here.
my thought process was that from the diagnosis to hospital, we had 96 hours.
Yeah, you're right.
So nothing was going to work in 96 hours. We hadn't even done any research. And research into natural therapies would take a significant period of time. Yeah. Also, my thought process was this was a cancer of the blood. It's not like a liver cancer. It's not like something you can actually cut out. This is something that has to be treated in a unique way. And in fact, as you can see, if those of you who are on YouTube, I'm hooked up to a portable device at the moment. This is called blinatumomab, and that's my CAD. That's my CAD pump. And this is what would they call this? This is not chemo per se.
It's immunotherapy. Yeah. So it's different again because you've been through the chemotherapy. Mm-hmm. Nearly killed him.
Lost my hair.
Yes. But it was such intense chemo. There's all sorts of chemotherapy. It was such intense chemotherapy. We'll go into that in another episode. But there's this new, and this is the thing. It's improving so rapidly all the time. Like I honestly believe from the research I've done that if Martin had this 2 years ago, we'd be in a very different position than we're in now. So it's the treatments are improving so quickly, rapidly, which is we're so blessed. We're so blessed to have this available to us, and then to have all the complementary. And as I said, I'm in that complementary health world. So to have that to support us and nurture us in the healing afterwards. Yeah.
So hopefully that answers your questions. But in this particular case, decided to throw myself at the hands of Big Pharma, and I am damn pleased I did, and the team at the Sunshine Coast University Hospital, who have been nothing short of absolutely miraculous. And I will be giving lots of shout outs throughout these podcasts to the Australian health system. I am so grateful to be sick in Australia, the health system and the treatment that I've had, the wonderful doctors and nurses that have treated me thus far, and we're still not even halfway through, have been exemplary. Absolutely amazing. And so my heart goes out to every one of them, and my thanks and gratitude goes out to everyone that I've been associated with, and everyone that's in that health profession. It's a thankless task. It really is. And the nurses and doctors work really hard. Note to self, Marty, when you're doing a podcast, turn your phone off. But everything is, very grateful for the doctors and nurses that...
they're earth angels for sure. Earth angels, yeah. And I'm excited that we've, we'll be having some of them on the show as well.
Yes, we will.
And you'll get to hear a much better description of what all these things mean than we're probably giving. But we're so blessed. Very, very blessed.
Yeah. Now, where I'd like to take this podcast to now is, and I've already mentioned it, that we had 96 hours between the diagnosis and between when we had to turn up in hospital. Now, I run my own business. Natalie runs her own business. We knew that this was massive for both of us. So what did we both do in the 96 hours to continue our business or to make changes in the way we operate? And for me, I learnt from the 2008 global financial crisis. So back in 2008, a year before, I decided to take on my very first business coach, Daryl Hardage, who's a very good friend of mine, still to this day, because I used to procrastinate in making decisions. I don't know if anyone can relate to that. I was a bit of a procrastinator. I put off the hard decisions, and things were not flowing quite as well as they could have been. When the 2008 GFC hit, the revenue of our business went from $1 million a month down to about $100,000 a month immediately. And so I know I knew I needed to take action. I needed to take action fast. And so, unfortunately, at the time, I had to lay off virtually every single one of my team members. It was the only way that I survived. And so for me, in this situation, nothing was different. What could I do to make sure the business survived, that I continued to serve my clients at the highest level? And the first thing I decided to do was, well, all of the events had to be cancelled. So within 24 hours, we cancelled all the events, and some of them had been paid fairly significant deposits. I had some commitments that I had committed to from other businesses. And boy, the way I was treated by everybody was just amazing. And particular example I want to point out is a business called Inside the Show, Philippe Nardi. And that's how I'm able to do all my fancy graphics. I just signed up for an annual facilitation for them, which was significant. It was about $3,000 a month for them to help me out personally. We were 3 months into it, and I rang Felipe and I said, hey, dude, I've got leukemia. And so can we just pause or something like that? And Felipe said to me, can you just hang on there just for a moment? And he came back a few minutes later and he said, Martin, I've refunded all your money up till now. Get better. And that meant so much if you're watching. All of the event places that I'd signed up for refunded the money. And it was a matter of how can I pare my business back? And so I had to reach out to my clients and tell them that I was not able to serve them anymore. And some of my wonderful clients said, Martin, we're with you. We'll continue to pay you even if you don't turn up. That meant so much. But for me, it was a matter of speed. I had to take action. I had to take action fast. And you had your business as well, because you had an event coming up in London. Were you already planned? Was it already in your mind about what you would do with that?
It came straight to mind because I was like, how am I going to do this? I'm meant to be in London. And I had 50 people booked on for a 5-day training in London in March. Everyone was flying in from all around the world. So they had flights booked, they had accommodation booked, they had bolted on other tours that they were going to do. So it was their whole world as well. And it was like, how am I going to do this? Like, how am I going to do this? So this was top of my mind pretty quickly of like, what am I going to do? And I can't just cancel, but I can't go either. So I kind of sat in the agony of that. But, you know, we were already in the first tsunami of like, what's, you know, number one was, oh my gosh, is Martin going to survive this? And then it's like, what do I do here? Yeah. So that came straight up for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's massive. And when you are in a time of challenge, whatever it is you need to do, act fast. Don't procrastinate. The sooner you can take action, the better off you will be. And that was a big lesson that I'd learned many, many years ago. But it's something that had served me well in all of the subsequent challenges that I had faced in my life. No matter what action you have to do, rip off the Band-Aid, take the action. Because from a business perspective, when you take action to turn the tap off financially, the tap keeps dripping for quite some time. I remember in 2008, you know, when I had to let 6 people go, there was holiday pay, there was payouts, so the expenses actually went up for a month or two before they went down. It was, how am I going to make it through this? But if I hadn't taken action at the time, at the moment that I knew it had to be taken, then the business wouldn't have survived. And that's the simplicity of it. So thank you, Daryl, because this is a powerful mindset that business owners need to have. If you're not a business owner, you can have it in other aspects of your life as well.
And you really coached me through that because, you know, I wouldn't call myself a procrastinator, but I honestly didn't know what to do. And, you know, Martin was saying to me, go, still go. you know, and I'm like, I can't go. I cannot go. I'm not leaving you. And it was actually my daughter who came up with this brilliant idea. And she said, what about if, she works with me. So she and my other team member, Angela, we were all going. And Martin was coming too. Martin was actually running 2 workshops at my event for my people as well. But they said, and Lily said, well, what if, Lily's my daughter, what if they still go and we invest in some really state-of-the-art AV and beam you in on a big screen? And I was like, oh, do you think that would work? And I was like, but hang on, that's London time. That'll be like 6 p.m. till like, 5 a.m. for me. It was 6 nights. And I thought, well, I can look into that. And that's what we did.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
So the first thing we did in 96 hours was that we pivoted our businesses on a dime.
Yep.
The second thing we did, and I'd like everybody to take particular notice of this. Thankfully, I had insurance. I had trauma and permanent disability insurance. And I rang our lovely broker, Simone, and I said, hey, look, am I covered for this? And she says, I don't see why you wouldn't be. And so immediately on admission to the hospital, I got the doctors to fill out the forms they needed to fill in. And 10 days later, I had a lump sum payment in my account. Now, what that meant for us financially cannot be understated. And if you don't have that, I would strongly urge you to do that. And so I would encourage everybody out there to consider it, because it certainly made a big difference in my life. And it gave me a 12-month window where really I didn't have to worry about generating revenue, because that was something I'd not closed the business, but the business was on really maintenance rations. It was bringing in a little bit of income, but not much. And so there would have been a point in time during my treatment that the money ran out. And that would have been challenging for both of us.
Yeah, lucky you did that. I in full transparency, didn't take it out, haven't taken it out, but I'm in the process of it right now. And you look at it and go, oh, it's expensive. But then when you see the other side like this, it is definitely worth it. Yeah. So good to flag it. Good to highlight it.
And I also noticed that every month on my credit card, I was paying this little thing called insurance. And so I thought, I'll give them a ring. And so I gave them a ring, and sure, I wasn't working for at least 6 months. So I got a payout of whatever my credit card balance at the time was. It was about $5,000 or $6,000, which again, great. That's $5,000 or $6,000. Yeah. So check out your insurances and really get straight on that. Yeah. The other thing that I did on the very first day in hospital is that I contacted my lawyer, Tracy McMillan, and I said, Tracy, I need to update my will because it hadn't been updated. I said, will a Victorian will work? And she said, not in Queensland it won't, which was news to me. Yeah. And so I was about to go into a strong chemo session where the chances of survival are good, but not 100% guaranteed.
12% risk of dying in that one, it was.
Which I found out later. Yeah. But I thought, well, I have to get my will sorted. So we got the will sorted in hospital. Had all of the...
That was a depressing day to have the lawyer marching in his suit into the hospital ward to do wills. It was like, that was a tough day. I was finding that very emotional.
But again, these are the...
You've got to look at it though. You've got to do it. I think it's important. And the more people I have spoken to, because now I speak to friends. I was out with 2 girlfriends the other day and I said, what do you want? Do you want to be cremated or buried? And they're like, what? Why are you talking about that? And I said, well, we should, and we're getting mature. We should all have that, because or else it's going to be left with our kids to figure out probably, isn't it? So anyway, things like I think the key message is get stuff sorted. Yeah. And the stuff that's particularly hard to look at. Yeah.
Yeah, and this certainly forces you to look at it. And because I have such a morbid sense of humour, hence Still Not Dead podcast, it's always at the front of mind.
Yeah.
Natalie, in hospital, I came up with 8 points of things that I have done that have made this journey, I'm not going to say a little bit easier, but a little bit more in my control. And so I'm just going to list them off. The first one we've just discussed, act fast. That's number one. Whatever you do, if you have a decision to make in a time of challenge, act fast. Okay. The second thing, which we covered on number one, is if you treat a diagnosis or if you treat a challenge as just news to start with, without categorizing it as good or bad, it's just news, then that's going to have you in a better mindset, because we as humans, we're born to catastrophize. So generally speaking, when we receive news of any type, we tend to go to worst case scenario, which is not helpful. The third thing I've got here is strategy. And this is a big one. Control what you can control. Don't worry about what you can't. I think I mentioned on the last episode, the things that I have in my control at the moment is how I show up, my mindset, my health, and my fitness. Those are the 3 things that I have that are under my control. I can't control how my body reacts to different medications. I can't control the timeline of the donor. And so I don't even go there. I just focus on what I can control, and that allows me to live in the moment every single day instead of worrying about what ifs. The fourth thing we've discussed, insurances. Guys, girls, get insured. It really is a lifesaver. The fifth thing is life reality. What I mean by that is it's accepting the reality as it is now. Not what I want it to be, what it is now. Accepting it, which leads into the 6th one, surrender, which Natalie, you and I discussed on the last podcast. Yeah. And surrender is really, for me, it's about completely surrendering to the process. Yeah. And when I'm in hospital, I keep getting asked by the nurses and the doctors when they come in for medications, because you have an opt-out. And I'm going, well, why would I opt out? I've surrendered to this. You guys know better than I about leukemia and how to treat it. Why would I be objectional? Why would I think that I'm better than you? Surrendering into what is, again, instead of questioning things all the time. The 7th, fight each day, mindset. Now, mindset is my jam. And the one thing that, and I'll do a post on it after this podcast, but mindset is not genetic. Mindset is a choice. You can choose to be positive, you can choose to be negative. You can choose to be inspired, or you can choose to be in the doldrums. The choice is completely yours. I choose positivity every single day of my life, and I have every single day of my life. But that's just the way I show up. And the 8th one, which we are now, where are we? We're in June, so we're 5 months into the journey, probably about 4 months in, and that's where the 8th one, gifts. Looking for the gifts in the situation. And we're already starting to see the gifts in this leukemia diagnosis, and we're excited about what lies ahead. So those are the 8 things that I had written down. Act fast, diagnosis, don't frame everything as good or bad news. Control what you can control, get your insurances sorted, accept life reality, surrender into it, fight each day with a positive mindset, and look for the gifts. And if you can do all those 8 things, your journey.
Can I add 2? I don't have an 8 list one, but the 2, just listening to you share then, the 2 things that I've probably got, would put on my list of that. And the first one is it came the first day you were in hospital, and I was like, every nurse that came in, I was like asking them 10 million questions. And this beautiful nurse, Shelley, and said to me, she said, I'm going to write something up on, there's a whiteboard in each room where they write different things. She said, I'm going to write something up on this board, and it's really important, and I want you to take this with you. And I said, okay. So I'm like, right, thinking she's going to give me some kind of information I needed. And she wrote, one day at a time. And I just looked at her and she said, if you don't surrender into one day at a time, you're going to go mad. You're going to go crazy. And I would even say it's half day at a time. And sometimes in treatment, it's hour at a time. But just that, that intention, it kind of came and slapped me right in the face from day one. It was like, you need to learn this really quickly if you're going to get through. And am I always good at it? No. But is it always an intention? Yes. And the other thing that I would add is that I don't believe I have ever appreciated things more. And, we sit outside now on our little chairs and look out over our garden, and that appreciation of the beauty and the appreciation of the good things, and that has heightened from this. There's his machine beeping saying he's going to need a pump change.
That's telling me there's a downline inclusion, which means I've got to anyway. Carry
Okay,
on.
we'll have to finish soon. But yes, it's so having the intention, which I guess is part of your mindset as well, but to really appreciate. It's the small things, actually, isn't it? It's the smallest things, and then the one day at a time. I'd add those to the list.
Great things to add to the list. Yeah, because I think in life in general, and the one thing that I have been granted the gift of is the ability to slow down. And when I'm the full-on, fully motivated business person, sales coach, chasing my passion, chasing my dreams, it occurred to me that I missed all of the little things along the way, things like sitting out on the chairs, taking time for breakfast, watching the flowers open, watching the sunrise, little things that pass us by. And that's one of the gifts of being able to slow down, is being able to take in a lot of the things that we take for granted, that we just drive or walk straight by. So if you're new to the podcast, once we're done here, Natalie is going to put in one of her guided meditations, which will be a 5-minute guided meditation. I'd encourage you all to do that. We'll sign off before that so we don't break your flow once the meditation is gone. Episode number 3 is coming up, and that's going to be a fun one. We're going to take you into the ward. We're going to take you into the ward, and we're going to talk to you about what chemotherapy actually does to you, what the medicines do to you. We're going to take you in, and we're going to give you a bird's eye view as to what it's actually like to be treated and what it's actually like to be the carer on the ward.
What it's like to be sitting on the other side watching someone you love.
Yeah, so appreciate your attention. We'd appreciate you sharing the love by sharing the links to our podcast, smashing the like button, doing whatever you can on whatever forum you're at to spread the word, because this is the way that Natalie and I can continue to spread the love to those that need it most. And until next time, it's a ka-cha from me.
Oh, and it's a ka-cha from me too.
See you soon, team.
I invite you to softly close your eyes, or let your gaze become gentle and unfocused. And begin by taking 3 slow, deep breaths. Imagine a wide indigo sky above you. It's deep and still, and scattered with stars. And it's quiet here, and you have nowhere to be but here. And you now notice the brightest star, its light clear and radiant. And you feel it beaming gently down, resting in the space between your eyebrows. You feel it as a soft, warm glow. This is the light of clarity, the light of quiet knowing. Feel your inner vision expanding. That deeper part of you that knows things before your thinking mind catches up. And gently ask, what do I need to see right now? Then simply rest. Let whatever wants to rise, rise. A feeling, an image, a quiet knowing. The answer may arrive now or later in a quiet moment when you least expect it. And as you breathe in, feel that light growing brighter, filling you with a deep yet gentle trust. And now let these words land somewhere deep. I see clearly. I trust my inner knowing. Now taking a deep breath in and out. And when you're ready, slowly opening your eyes.